The day arrived when Hart had to depart for the capital. At this moment, the others were accompanying Hart and Lisa. To conceal Lisa's identity, Hart used his magic to hide her horns and tail. Consequently, Lisa appeared anxious since she wasn't accustomed to this. Meanwhile, Flay was feeling down because she hadn't been chosen to accompany Hart to the capital. In the capital, Marianne joyfully went to meet Laius to deliver a letter from Count Gordo. Laius was certain that the letter must contain news about Hart's departure to the capital. Laius felt that Marianne didn't need to report everything about it. Nevertheless, Marianne knew that Laius had put in a lot of effort to secure a recommendation letter for Hart. Indeed, she had done all of that because she was curious about the power that Hart possessed. Since their battle, Laius had been continually improving his magic and swordsmanship skills. However, the more he trained, the more he felt that the gap between them was vast. That's why, if he and Hart attended the same school, he believed he would understand the reason up close. But it wasn't just Laius. Marianne also urged the king to provide Hart with a recommendation letter. Rumor had it that Marianne was throwing a tantrum and refusing to leave her room until Hart received the recommendation letter. Marianne was certainly surprised to learn that Laius knew about this. It turned out that the palace guards had been gossiping about it. Some of them even felt that Marianne was more loyal to that person, Hart, than to Laius. Caught off guard upon hearing this, Marianne unintentionally revealed that she had feelings for Hart. Setting aside Hart, Laius was concerned about Marianne, who was preoccupied with the strange cult group that held power within the academy. Marianne then explained that they were the Lucifera Church, a new religion disguising itself as the Magi sect in the country. Supposedly, they were highly aggressive and worshipped demons. Their influence extended far beyond the academy, having taken control of most of the country. Additionally, they had another issue. Recently, some of their members had expressed a desire to overthrow the king. Surprisingly, many nobles had joined their ranks and made significant donations. There were even rumors that their mother, the queen, had contributed to their cause as well. Laius couldn't understand what his mother was truly after. She had suddenly changed 5 years ago, and she hadn't even disclosed who had placed the necklace around his neck. Laius knew his mother was ruthless, but her aggressiveness had escalated recently. He'd even suspected that she wanted to dethrone the king. Despite sounding strange, Marianne believed that Hart could handle the situation. Unknowingly, she had placed her hopes on him. Laius felt it was too heavy a burden for Hart to bear alone. However, Marianne believed Hart had the power to stand against an organization like this. Suddenly, Laius remembered a story about the Black Knight, a defender of truth who had acted in Count Gordo's territory. Supposedly, he could defeat a dragon king. As he mentioned this, their mother, Giselot, entered the room from seemingly nowhere. Marianne attempted to greet her politely, but Giselot suddenly grabbed her by the throat. Giselot felt offended, thinking Marianne had been eyeing the necklace around her neck. Eventually, she stopped and dismissed it as a jest. Now she spoke to Laius. Giselot said she had accidentally heard about Hart attending the same school as Laius. With a menacing expression, she ordered Laius to obtain information about the Black Knight from Hart. Laius had no choice but to comply. He felt guilty for involving Hart in such a significant matter. Meanwhile, Hart had not yet departed and was still relaxing in his wooden house. Some time ago, after traveling a considerable distance from the castle, Hart returned to his wooden house in his horse-drawn carriage. Indeed, Hart had set up a teleportation door near the capital a few days ago. He wanted to relax in his wooden house until the estimated day he reached the capital. Since then, Flay had been pleading with Hart to take her along. Char tried to reassure her, saying they both had their own tasks. Then Char instructed Hart to focus on his mission in the capital. After that, Hart and Lisa went to the forest near the capital through the teleportation door. It was still quite a distance from the city gate. If he were to fly, it would surely attract attention. So, he decided to travel on foot. Not far from there, Lisa spotted a horse-drawn carriage being pursued by evil bison. These monsters were not usually found in this area. It seemed like this one had strayed from its herd. Hart could have ignored it, but it would be troublesome if Char found out. In the end, he transformed and approached the evil bison. The horse-drawn carriage hit a rock, causing one of its wheels to shatter. Hart quickly created a protective barrier to prevent the passengers from falling and getting hurt. Among the passengers was a white-haired, red-eyed girl. She said she would divert the monster's attention so that the others could escape. Feeling that the girl was strong, Hart decided to watch for a while. It turned out that the girl was losing in a power struggle against the evil bison, and she was thrown aside. Reluctantly, Hart decided to intervene, stomping on the bison's head until it passed out. The girl appeared to be in pain, so Hart didn't hesitate to heal all her wounds. The girl was deeply impressed because the healing magic she experienced felt different from the usual. A small child who had also been in the carriage was worried about the girl. She reassured the child that she was fine, thanks to the man in front of her. Hart felt like he looked suspicious in front of the child. However, fortunately, the child wasn't frightened and expressed gratitude. After that, Hart introduced himself as the Black Knight, Schwarzer, a name given to him by Char. Sometime later, Hart repaired their damaged horse-drawn carriage. The white-haired girl was deeply impressed to see her savior capable of doing so much. In reality, the girl wanted to offer money as a reward, but she had nothing with her at the moment. She had even been given a free ride by the passengers on the carriage. Hart explained that defenders of truth help selflessly. Despite being told so, the girl remained determined to repay the favor if they were to meet again. After that, Hart bid farewell to go and return the evil bison to its herd. Once again, the girl was impressed by his kindness. The monster was then taken to the forest to be fed. Subsequently, it peacefully returned to its herd. While on the way to the capital gate, Lisa appeared to be pondering something. She felt there was something odd about the girl they had encountered. Lisa didn't know how else to explain it. It seemed she would have to take a closer look to find out. Upon arriving in the capital, they headed straight to the school and were welcomed by a long queue. It didn't take long for Hart to become frustrated by the vastly different personalities of the people around him. After waiting in such a long line, Hart finally entered for the signature process. However, he had to sign a mountain of documents until he became excessively tired. Hart and Lisa were eventually able to go to their provided rooms. Lisa also had a separate room for servants. However, Hart couldn't endure it any longer and wanted to return to his wooden house. Back at the house, Char and Flay were already prepared to welcome Hart. He collapsed on the sofa and asked Flay to prepare a meal. However, Char suddenly interrupted and suggested that they dine at a restaurant in the capital. At this moment, Hart didn't really want to return to the capital. Flay immediately agreed with Hart. Furthermore, she wanted to be more useful in the hopes of changing Hart's mind about taking her along. Char then whispered something to Flay, causing her to suddenly change her mind and opt for dining at a restaurant. Hart was impressed to see Char's ability to influence Flay. Since they were heading to the capital, Hart had to use his magic to conceal Flay's ears and tail. With that, they headed to the heart of the capital. Char was very excited to see the many shops there. She spotted a restaurant and invited Hart to dine there. After finishing their meal, Char suddenly placed a map of the capital on the restaurant table. She said they needed to memorize the city's geography. Flay was assigned the southern block, Lisa the western block, while she and Hart would explore the eastern block. Hart didn't really understand why Char wanted to memorize the city's geography, but he decided to go along with Char's game. This way, Char and Hart would go exploring alone. She even called it a date. Hart panicked upon hearing that term. He tried to stay calm and assumed Char had learned the term from an anime. He was sure Char didn't know the actual meaning of the word. Nevertheless, this was Hart's first date in his entire life, and he eventually agreed to go on this date for his sweet sister. They visited several places, including a bridge, a bookstore, and an accessory stall. Char particularly liked a butterfly-shaped necklace being sold there, so without hesitation, Hart bought it for her. As the day turned into evening, Hart and Char found themselves at the town square. Char was still full of energy and ran around excitedly. Suddenly, she bumped into a girl without noticing. Unexpectedly, the girl she collided with was the white-haired girl whom Hart had saved earlier. As Hart approached, the girl felt like she had met him somewhere before. However, Hart immediately denied it, saying it was their first encounter. The girl sensed a significant amount of magical energy within him, but Hart once again refuted it, claiming his magic level was only at 2. He felt offended when she suggested he had strong magical energy. The girl eventually gave up and attributed it to exhaustion, admitting she must have misunderstood. Speaking of which, she hurriedly mentioned that she had a job interview to attend. She quickly bid farewell and left. Afterward, Char remarked that there was something mysterious about the girl. She couldn't quite explain it, but the girl seemed different from others. Hart was reminded of Lisa saying something similar. Regardless, Hart didn't want to get involved in complicated matters. He decided to keep to himself until the school entrance ceremony.